Hi, thank you so much for coming tonight. I'm Kristin Wainwright, and my topic is working with multiple sclerosis. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the problems that I've seen with multiple sclerosis and kind of my journey to coming to this area of research. Multiple sclerosis is the most common cause of neurological disability outside of trauma in young adults. And one of the major problems that are identified by people with multiple sclerosis as being a problem is related to employment. The experiences that I had that led to this began in February 6, 2012. I was sitting at my desk at work, working late after hours at the computer, and I bent my head forward, and I felt this really strange sensation called Lermite, or Lermite if you want to say it the French way. So when there is a lesion on the spinal cord, so multiple sclerosis impacts the brain and the spinal cord and the transmissions of signals within the brain and spinal cord. If there's a lesion on your spinal cord, when you lean your head forward, it's this shock feeling that goes down your body. So my first impulse was, well, I just won't bend my head, and I just kept working. And then, of course, you start thinking about it. And so I started figuring out what to do and ended up seeking care at that point. So this is just one of many, many strange symptoms that can occur in multiple sclerosis. Depending on where the damage is in the brain and the spinal cord, you can have completely different symptoms. And those symptoms might change within an individual and vary quite a bit between individuals. So that things like stress or weather or all kinds of things can impact the severity of those symptoms and how they impact a person at that moment in time. So the road to diagnosis with multiple sclerosis is a long one. Oftentimes when people first start having problems, it might not hurt, so they mention it in appointments, and they maybe think that it's stress or anxiety, or they're just, they just need a vacation. But once it becomes a regular problem, they realize that there's something wrong, and the actual diagnosis process involves blood tests, lumbar punctures, MRIs, so it's very invasive and it can be a long and stressful experience. And during this time, while people are seeking diagnosis, the kinds of problems that they can have may be misinterpreted in the workplace as a poor work ethic. They might not be performing as usual. There's cognitive symptoms, there's fatigue. People might seem drunk when they're walking because the damage in their brain is related to walking. So people may be fired from their jobs before they're even diagnosed. So this is a problem that I saw through my experiences with people with MS and through my peek into this world of this disease. Another problem is even once you get a diagnosis, the interpretation of people with these kinds of invisible symptoms, as well as symptoms that wax and wane, can be pretty harsh. These are just a few things that you can come across on the internet. When this one picture started cycling, it just made me so angry. But, there's been a miracle in the alcohol aisle. So someone who is in a wheelchair stood up to reach for something. And with symptoms and chronic illness, this wax and waning is seen as some kind of inconsistency, as though the person is trying to get attention or they don't really have a problem. When in actuality, they need to park closer because they get fatigued and they fall, and so they have a placard for their disability, or they have trouble walking around the store, so they use a wheelchair. But the amount of aggression that people will experience on a daily basis and just automatic judging that people make, or even if it's someone that knows that you have a neurological disease and you have a neurological disorder, they don't quite understand. So I see this as a big problem, and the fact that it impacts people so young, it's most often diagnosed at age 30. So people can live 50, 60, 70 years with multiple sclerosis. So this is a big problem. I see this as a big problem just because of the amount of time as well that people are learning how to live with and manage this disease. So through my work, hoping to get a better understanding of early symptoms to help people better manage their symptoms and help prevent unemployment and work-related problems in multiple sclerosis. So here's a little, So even once people learn the language of their disease, trying to explain it to others can be really hard. And then just learning how to manage those symptoms and be able to keep doing the things that you want to do in life. Thank you so much.